Okay, so thank you for the opportunity to present. Actually, I've been told there are some foreign participants attending the webinar, so I'll be delivering my talk in English, but if you have any questions, you can later ask me in Bangla, that's also fine. Okay, so thank you, National Young Academy of Bangladesh, for this opportunity. So we'll be talking about this topic today, like where not to publish your research. So we have three speakers today, as Professor Basit mentioned, and I'll be the first speaker and we'll talk about predatory journals and conferences. Okay, so a little bit brief introduction about the National Young Academy of Bangladesh. So since its inception in 2019, NYAB has been working actively to promote science education and awareness in Bangladesh, and it provides a platform for young researchers to collaborate both nationally and internationally. So let's come to the topic today. So we are discussing about predatory journals. So we are familiar with the term predatory, something that hunts, okay, that's a predator. And we have this term quite common these days in academia, because we have some predatory journals which always hunt for new and young researchers. So according to Nature, there's no specific definition for predatory, but there are some features or characteristics by which we can identify them. For example, the predatory journals, they provide misleading information. They don't have standard editorial practices, and I'm going to talk more about that later. And they have some aggressive solicitation processes, like they'll send you lots of emails and then ask you to submit papers and all. Okay, so with the digital era, we have a lot of online journals, and this has seen a significant rise in predatory journals as well. So we call this really a big minefield out there. And so as a young researcher, we have to be very careful where we are stepping, right? So you don't want to get caught with predatory journals. Okay. So recent articles in journals like Nature and Science have put a lot of focus on this predatory publishing. As you can see over here, I've put some recent examples from Nature and Science, and which means that there is a significant rise in predatory journals these days. Okay, so just to come back to the point about predatory journals, basically they publish your paper very quickly. You don't need to wait. There's no rigorous review process, and your acceptance is guaranteed. And also the editorial board that they have is always questionable. Side by side, I've shown here what the good journals do. Basically, they have a strong peer review process. So when you submit your paper, it goes through several experts in the field who look into the paper, and they give you some corrections and they make some recommendations. So the whole process takes time. So it's not like the predatory journals that you submit and you get accepted right away. Okay. Now, let's look into some sting operations. These are some interesting stories. One of the science journalists from Science magazine, John Bohannon, he carried out investigation where he submitted a fake journal to around 304 predatory publishers. And interestingly, 50% of that got accepted. So this was a really fake science paper that had no scientific value, but still you see it got accepted. So it shows how bad the peer review process is for predatory journals. This is also another interesting, I was just talking about that they have a fake editorial board. So a few researchers from Poland, they actually made up a CV for a fake editor, and she applied for an editorial post in some predatory journals, whereas the person doesn't really exist. So they basically made a fake resume and submitted to the journals, and it got accepted. So it shows that without any background check, they accept anybody as editors. Okay. Now, how do we identify predatory journals? Now, there's no universal list. You just cannot go to one repository and then find all the predatory journals there. But the closest one we have is called the Beals list. And he's a librarian at the University of Colorado, Denver. So he made a list that was active till 2017. The list is no longer continued officially because they had some lawsuits and all, but still it's a pretty good resource where you can find a list of predatory journals. Another resource is the Cables list, but you need to pay for that in order to access that list. Other than that, you have the university library websites. You can go to Yale, Harvard, or any other good schools library website, and then you can check out for the predatory journals. But it's really hard to keep track of all these lists. But I'll show you some quick ways by which you can identify them. Typically, these journals have a name that starts with international, global, or worldwide. So here's a quick look about the red flags for the predatory journals. Like I said, they promise very quick publication. The articles have really no scientific or academic value, and they charge you a high article processing charges. Sometimes these are really hidden charges, and if you don't look out for it, then you may be in trouble. And later, if you want to withdraw your paper, they'll still charge you. But be careful, because I mean, all journals that have APCs are not predatories. There are also good journals which have article processing charges. So you need to be a little bit cautious over here. The publisher information is not there. The website is really, I mean, I call it crappy because there's no information there. It says international, global, and they keep sending you emails. I'll show you some examples, and where they send you, I call it flattering emails. They call you esteemed researchers and all these things. And as I said, they make false claims on impact factors and editorial board. So how do we know which are good journals? So typically we go look for index journals. There are popular indexed databases like Scopus and Clarivet, and also PubMed, as well as the directory of open access journals. So if you go to these websites and you don't find the desired journal that you're looking for, then most likely that is a predatory journal. Okay. And there's a good website called Think, Check, Submit. So if you go there, you will get more details on this, on how to find this out. So since we're talking about index journals, here are some examples mostly from science and engineering disciplines. These are some learned societies which have very good journals. These are some commercial publishers. They are also world famous. Okay. Now, let's look at the context from Bangladesh perspective. So most of you are aware of the Bangladesh Journal Online, or more commonly known as Banglajol. It has a list of the journals that are published from Bangladesh mostly. So out of this list, according to Scientific Bangladesh, this is an online portal, there are 17 journals which are Scopus indexed. And you can see the quartile rankings. Dr. Sajid will talk more about these quartile rankings or metrics later on. So these are the 17 index journals from Bangladesh. Okay, in terms of predatory journals, Bangladesh is unfortunately not far behind. This is an article from 2018, which lists the top 20 countries publishing predatory journals by number. Okay, and Bangladesh is there. It's like 550 publications in 2018, and it ranks number 13 there. And not only in terms of publishing fake journals or fake articles, Bangladesh also has predatory publishers. This is an article from the Chronicle of Higher Education, and it talks about a predatory publisher that is based in Bangladesh. Okay, so you can check it out later. So why do we do this? As you know, the academic pressure is there, and it's more common in the Western world that you need to publish or perish, right? So that kind of puts the pressure on the academicians to publish, and sometimes you are in a hurry to publish your articles. So you look for the easy solution, and that is predatory. Okay, and then comes the important part that, especially in Bangladesh's context, we give priority on quantity over quality. Okay, So if you have more articles, you are more famous, right? That's what we think, but we don't look at the quality. So that's a bad thing. And quantity actually dictates our promotion in academia, especially in Bangladesh. And also it dictates our degrees. Okay, so we don't look for quality. So that's another reason actually. Okay. So here's some examples I was talking about. Some examples. This is from my own inbox email that I always get from predatory journals. You can see I have shown you the email address. It's from a Gmail, so it's not official. And if you look at maybe the text are a little, small for reading, but you can see that they are claiming publication within 7 to 10 days. Okay, and here even there's one article here that says that acceptance is guaranteed in 24 hours. And here they show the price like 50 US dollar for foreign authors and 2,000 rupees for local authors. So be careful about this type of emails. If you get this, don't fall into this trap. So look out for these signs, okay? Now, I was talking about impact factors. Sometimes we are misled by the fact that, okay, some journals have impact factors and we think, okay, this is a good journal, but be careful, there are also fake impact factors, okay? Like for example, this is a journal in the Beall's list, which Journal of Current Research in Science, and it claims there are, a lot of impact factors like index, Copernicus, universal impact factor. So these are all like fake. So be careful about this, okay? Now, I'm not going to go into the details for this slide. Rather, I'm going to show you some examples. This is taken from the Stony Brook website, and it actually discusses about how to identify predatory journals from their websites. So let's look into some examples rather than dissecting this slide, okay? So here are some journals. I'm sorry, I might have picked most journals from the engineering field, because that's what I get in my email mostly. And you can see these journals do exist in the Beall's list. So first one example I'm showing is the International Journal of Scientific and Engineering Research. Okay, so if you go to their website, you'll see there's a fancy picture over here, some student looking at the sky. So this is not professional, okay? You'll see that they have claim to publish thesis. I have not heard of any journals which makes a claim like that. And then you have an impact factor 4.9. Obviously, this is not true. Okay, a journal with a 4.9 impact factor doesn't have such an unprofessional website. Okay, so here's another example. Okay, so again, you see the common thing. Most of these start with the word international. And we have a tendency to believe that anything international is really outstanding. But in this case, it's not. This is International Journal of Advanced Research in Electrical, Electronics, and Instrumentation Engineering. You see, they have given a WhatsApp number. Okay, this is a red flag, a big red flag. Okay, if you go to the editorial board, you will see that, okay, they mention an editor, but there's no contact details or affiliation with it. And obviously, a 7 impact factor journal won't look like this. Here's another interesting example. This is a global journal. It claims that it's based in US. If you go to their website, this is also from the Beall's list, as you can see. You'll see that, okay, they have a YouTube commercial there, okay? Okay, so this is very, very funny, I would say. Okay, they are advertising their journals with a YouTube commercial, okay? Okay, now, recently I have seen a lot of review papers. People are doing a lot of review papers from Bangladesh. And to meet that demand, there's also journals which have come up, right? Predatory journals which publish review. So this is a journal, this is called World Journal of Research and Review. You can see, again, it's claiming fake impact factors, and they have interesting article processing charges. you'll see that they charge $90 US without a DOI and $105 US with DOI. So that's a very questionable thing, okay? Anyway, so like predatory journals, we have predatory conferences as well. This is another sting of operation by the MIT graduate students, which is back from 2005 or so. From the artificial intelligence lab, they actually created a software which can generate fake predatory papers, right? And they submitted it to a conference and it got accepted, right? So without any review, obviously. And it has the like nonsense graphs and which looked realistic, but actually doesn't carry any useful information. So this is a example of a website from a predatory conference. And look how they advertise it. They actually gave popular tourist destinations as their location. So you'll be tempted to go there and present your paper. But if you really do so, you need to pay a high amount of registration fees, book expensive hotels. So you'll be just wasting your money, okay? Because if you go there, you might find out that they don't really exist, okay? So it's like more like a tourist website advertising fancy locations, okay? Now, checklist, I've already gone through this. I'm not going to go into the details. It's basically the same as the predatory journals. For the conferences, they also promise quick publication and then nice tourist destinations and all. And if you look very closely, you'll see that it's not a valid conference as well. Okay. Okay, so I'll be ending in the next 1 or 2 minutes. So what are the perils of predatory publishing? Why should we not do this? First of all, if you're a scientist, you have some responsibility as a researcher, as a scientist. You should not mislead your peers, right? So you should not publish in predatory journals. Well, it might give you immediate promotions and all, but it leaves a permanent stain on your academic reputation, okay? It's a waste of money and effort. Whatever you do, you might say, okay, I got promoted, but I got some award. But in the long run, it's a waste of your effort. Especially those working in medical science, you have to be very careful what you publish and how you display your research, because it might have a direct impact on the human lives, okay? And also a lot of universities and institutions are becoming aware of this issue. So if you think that, okay, I'm getting away today with this, I mean, don't think like that, because sooner or later you'll get caught, okay? And this can be really disastrous for your academic and research career, okay? So I'm gonna end with this slide, okay? This is about the fight against the predatory journals and conferences. What should we really do? First of all, we should talk more about this, okay? That's why we have arranged this webinar from NYUB today. Then we should expose the predatory journals. This is an article from one of our panelists, a very nice one. And also, as you can see, the world is not sitting idle. The Federal Trade Commission in the US, they filed a lawsuit against Omics International. This is a predatory publisher based in India, and it's a $50 million lawsuit. So, I mean, predatory publishing, all academicians should come together to fight against it. And this is an article from researchers at the Ottawa Hospital. It's published in Nature Human Behavior, and they talk about creating awareness, especially for young researchers, so that they don't submit it here. And also for institutionally, the awareness should come. And also they should provide incentives to young researchers to publish in legitimate aid journals. The funding agencies who are providing money for research, they should also do some auditing. The stakeholders, the scientific community, the colleagues, your peers who are reading your papers should actually come forward and raise their voice against this issue, okay? So with that in mind, I hope I didn't bore you with my presentation. So thank you, everyone, okay? So.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Moinul, for your nice presentation. It was really informative, and we'll accept questions later on.